Hey everyone, welcome to Vinyasa. Today we'll start out seated, but before you sit, what I would recommend for your practice are blocks if you have them, or something that might function like blocks, like even a chair or some hardback books. Something that'll just bring the ground up to you. I think it'll be helpful. It's not required, but a thought, a suggestion. So as you come to your seat, I recommend sitting on top of something as always, so that your seat can be comfortable, that your knees can start to relax, maybe in line with your hips or just slightly below your hips. And we'll settle in. We'll have some breath practice, so pranayama, and that will be kind of a theme throughout practice. So we'll do it seated to see how that feels, and then a few times throughout the beginning of our practice, we'll try that same breath practice in a particular asana, a posture. So the breath practice is called Breath of Fire. And I think it's helpful, if you haven't done it before, to place the hands on the belly, because it's really about using the abdomen to force the air out through nose or mouth. And the inhale happens automatically. And so the movement is really concentrated in the diaphragm, which is why I think it's helpful to have the hands there. So it looks and sounds like this. I'll just demonstrate. You'll take an inhale through the nose to begin. Or, right, so out through nose or out through mouth. Either way will work. And then the one other thing I will say is that shoulders stay relaxed if possible, and you're just focusing all that movement in the belly. So let's try it together. We'll do it for about 30 seconds or so, 30 seconds to a minute. I'll keep track of time. So inhale, begin. And if you're new to this type of breath practice, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to lose your breath. It's okay that it feels like it's unsustainable for the length of time that we're doing this. It's normal. So just do your best. Come back when you're ready. We're almost there. And let that go. You can relax your hands if they're on your belly. Close down your eyes for a moment. Sit tall. Breathe in neutral breath through the nose. Breathe out through nose. Just take a few moments to acknowledge how you feel. It might be a slight shift. It might be very similar to how you feel when you started. Just notice. Good. And so we'll blink the eyes open, and we'll just find a little bit of movement in our seat, and then we'll get flowing. First, we'll take a seated twist. So we'll turn off to our right. Left hand to the outer thigh, right hand behind you like a little kickstand. Don't force it too much in this seated twist. Just grow tall as you're able. Think more about vertical spine, a little bit less about the idea of twisting. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath here. And then start to unwind back through center, second side. Go ahead off to your left. Right hand to outer thigh, left hand right behind you like a little kickstand. And once more, we're thinking of that vertical spine. Don't worry so much about how far you twist. Breathing in, breathing out. One more inhale and exhale here. Start to release and wind. And then we'll come off of our feet. If you're using blocks, you'll place them towards the top of your mat for a little bit later. Let's come into hands and knees. A few rounds of cat and cow. So just starting to warm up the spine, articulating that flexion and that extension of the back body. And you might match your breath to your movement here. You might not, but do continue to come back to breath and notice. How it's feeling today, how it sounds today. And one more time, in and out of cat and cow. Come back to a neutral spine. We'll take downward facing dog, so curling toes under, lifting hips up and back, pressing your chest towards your thighs, relaxing your head towards the floor. So getting a sense of how the back body is feeling, the whole length of the back body. It's called the posterior chain. From the very back of the skull all the way down to the heel bones. Just noticing there, what's going on. You might bend the knees right and left. You might play with the rotation of the hands and the width of the feet even. So like outer hip width distance apart, maybe. You might take a wider stance, see how that feels. Just a few more breaths here in that first down dog. Inhale, shift forward, find high plank and pause in that high plank. So round 2 of our pranayama in high plank. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, so we'll take about 30 seconds, reaching back through the heel bones, reaching forward through the crown of the head. If you need to set your knees down at any point in time, you can totally do that, okay? Inhale to begin, breath of fire. And remember that air can come out through the nose or out through the mouth. Out through the mouth might be a little bit easier, especially when you're weight bearing in a shape like this. Last 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly lower the knees if you haven't already. Come all the way onto the belly. And let's take our hands and stack them underneath the forehead. Take your elbows out wide. We'll continue to warm up the back body. So this will be your starting position. You have a little pillow at the backs of the hands. So take a breath in here. A breath out here. Now we'll add on to this shape. We'll inhale and we'll lift the upper body away from the mat, but keep your hands and your elbows as they are. So still underneath the forehead. And then bend the knees so your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Oh, I just got a little cramp there. So if that's happening for you, obviously you don't have to hold it, but if it's feeling okay, knees bent, you could stretch your arms back behind you. You might grab your outer ankles if that's fairly accessible. You might just continue reaching your hands back. And then we'll release, we'll come back to our starting position. So lengthen out through the backs of the legs. Elbows wide, hands underneath the forehead. Okay, let's move that with our breath just 3 times. So inhale to lift upper body, including the arms and the head. Then exhale to bend the knees. And you might stretch your arms back. Maybe you catch the outer ankles, maybe not. It doesn't matter. And then slowly release. Come back to your starting position. Rest your forehead for a moment. Twice more like that. Inhale, lifting the elbows, the chest, and the head. Exhale, bending the knees, stretch the arms back. Maybe you bind, maybe you don't. And then start to release. One more time through. Inhale to lift. Exhale to bend knees, stretch the arms back. Maybe you catch a hold. And then unwind, come all the way back down. Walk your palms underneath your shoulders. Press up to hands and knees. Send your hips all the way back towards the heels for child's pose. Really full breath into the lungs, into the back ribs. And full breath out. Let's pull the heart forward, tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. So our back body should be nice and warm. Now we're gonna work with the front body. Step your feet slightly forward, cross your ankles, come to a seat, and then roll all the way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. From here, happy baby, you can reach up for outer edges of the feet or inner edges of the feet or anywhere along the backs of the legs. Just a few breaths here. From happy baby, reach your hands to the backs of your knees and then start to rock the length of your mat. Forward to the tailbone, all the way to the back body, back and forth. So your feet don't have to come up and overhead, especially if the back of the neck or shoulders need something more gentle. So you make your rock as big or as small as you like. Next time you come forward, pause there. Feel your sits bones rooted right down there in the middle of your mat. You can point your toes forward and let them rest on the mat. There's many different levels you could add on to this, but you might stay here, hands alongside the hips, or you might lift the feet, or you might straighten out through the legs. Okay, so third round of breath of fire here, third round of pranayama, 30 seconds again. Inhale to begin. And you'll just notice as you move through these shapes and add breath of fire, that, that sound, that texture, and that cadence will change. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll cross your ankles, bring your hands forward over your shins, take your feet back, downward facing dog. Take a few moments here to stretch out, breathe in, and breathe out. Last full breath. From downward facing dog, inhale, lift your heel bones. Start to walk your feet forward. We'll take a few moments to fold into Uttanasana. So be generous again with your back body, bending your knees. You can sway a little bit right to left. You can take your hands to blocks or your chair if it's there at the top of the mat to bring the floor up a little bit higher to you. One more breath, Uttanasana. Let's inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to the shins at first. And get a sense of your shoulders being at least as high as your hips. There might be slightly higher, and that's okay. So you have this sense of a long, strong core body, rooting down through your feet. See if you can keep that halfway lift. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart. You also might take the fingertips to the back of the head and pull the elbows out wide. It's a little bit more challenging this way, in my opinion. So choose your medicine. Press down into your feet. Let's pull the back body all the way up to standing. Relax your arms. Pause here, breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, sweep your arms out wide, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way in, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Keep that halfway lift, hands to heart or fingertips to the back of the head and elbows wide. Press down into your feet. Pull the back body straight up to standing. Relax your arms. So let's add on to our Vinyasa. We'll shift the weight into the left foot. We'll work a little bit with balance. Lift that right knee up. We're going to move in and out of this Ardha Tadasana shape, so half standing pose, and back through Virabhadrasana 3. So Virabhadrasana 3, you're still balancing on that left ankle as the right leg extends behind you. Active through that right leg, so you're flexing the foot, toes down towards the floor. And the crown of the head stretching forward. Your hands can be at your heart, or they can also stretch forward. Still balancing on that left foot, come all the way back up to Ardha Tadasana. Right knee lifts and bends. Option here to add on. Arms can stretch up towards the ceiling. Right leg can stretch forward. Hip flexor work, right? Quadricep starts to turn on. And then send it right back to Virabhadrasana 3. Maybe the hands to the heart. Maybe the arms stretch forward. And then if balance is really challenging for you today for whatever reason, remember you have your props there. Fingertips can come down to blocks or the chair. Let's move through this again. So lifting the heart, standing up, Ardha Tadasana, right knee lifts, or right leg extends forward and arms lift. And then sweeping back for Vira 3. Pause in your Virabhadrasana 3, breath in. And breath out, slowly lower that right foot to the back of the mat. You're in a low lunge now with the left foot forward. We'll set up for side angle. So it's kind of like Warrior 2 in the foot placement. You're going to spin the sole of the right heel down. Maybe you take that block underneath the left hand on the outer left ankle. And then as you sweep that right arm high, start to circle the right arm all the way around. It's kind of like you're breast stroking with just your right side. So plug into that right foot, press down through that left heel as you sweep your right arm forward, down, back, all the way around in a circle. One more time with that. And then right hand comes to the mat, right heel lifts, you're back into that low lunge. From here, we'll step into high plank. Pause in your high plank. Shift forward. Option to move through chaturanga if that's something that's in your practice and that works for you and your body. On your inhale, find a back bend. It might be Sphinx, it might be up dog, it might be low cobra. On your exhale, all the way back to downward facing dog once more. Settle into down dog, 2 to 3 breath cycles here. From downward facing dog, lift your heels, slightly gaze forward, make your way to the top of your mat. And then there, your next inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips to shins, hands to heart, or fingertips to the side of the head, back of the head. You know your options. Press down through your feet, stand up tall. Relax your arms. Second side, shifting the weight into the right foot, lifting the left knee. Ardha Tadasana, stretch your arms upward. Breath in. Get a sense of your balance on your right foot now. Might feel a little different. There's usually one side that's way stronger than the other in terms of balance. And for me, this side's much more wobbly. All right, let's start to flow with this. So left leg extends back behind you. Stay active through that left foot. Flex the foot, toes pointing straight down. See if you can keep that left hip point also pointing straight down. And then maybe you stretch your arms forward if you like. Inhale to lift back up, left knee lifts. Option to stretch that left leg forward. And then back through Vira 3. Left leg behind you, pressing that left foot into that imaginary wall behind you. Inhale, lifting up, Ardha Tadasana. Option to extend the left leg forward. And this next time as we come back into Vira 3, we'll stay there for a few moments, pausing, balancing. And if you fall out, that is okay. It's all part of the process. Let's take that slow, soft landing into our low lunge. Left leg still extending behind you, curling the toes under. And then spin the sole of the foot down so that you're coming into your side angle feet. Maybe you add a prop, like a block outside of your right ankle, as you sweep your left arm up. Start to right away circle that left arm forward, let it roll down, back and up. So just circling it all the way out. Stay aware of your breath here. One more time. The next time that left arm reaches forward, rotate the hands down. So you're framing your right foot out and you're lifting your left heel up. Low lunge to high plank. Pause in your high plank. Option to shift forward, moving through Vinyasa, or maybe you just lift your hips right up back to down dog if you want to skip it. That's totally fine and always welcome. Once in down dog, 2 to 3 breath cycles. One more time through our flow, I'll give you a few options to add on. So heel bones lift, let's make our way to the top of the mat. Once you're there, inhale, halfway lift, choosing your hand placement, and stand up nice and tall. Shifting weight into the left foot, lift the right knee. Okay, so you know your options here. Here's option number 1, Uttanasana, or right leg forward. Or option number 3, left hand grabs the inner right foot, extend it forward as the right arm extends back. So you're counterbalancing that weight with a little bit of a twist here and reaching the right arm back. You can also keep this right leg bent. It does not need to be straight if you want to try that bind. Okay, and from here, we're going to transition into Natrajasana. So as the right leg moves back, this time the knee is going to stay bent. Your right arm is going to reach back, grabbing the outer right ankle. From here, reach that left arm high. You can stay here and work the balance, or you can start to tilt the body forward. So reaching through that left hand, kicking the right foot upward. And then we'll move through that flow once more. So come back through Ardha Tadasana and choose your addition. Maybe it's just here, extending the right leg, extending the arms. Maybe it's finding that bind and that twist. Either way, start to back out of that. Bending right knee, pressing the right foot behind you. Grab the outer right ankle with your right hand. Lift your left arm up. Tilting the body forward is an option. Any amount is great. Okay, so we'll release out of that, reaching that right foot back, soft lunge, or soft landing rather, that's what I was trying to say. Set up your feet for side angle. Again, if you want that block outside of your left ankle, great, that's what I'm gonna do. Right arm's gonna rotate up towards the ceiling. And this time I'll invite you to bend that right elbow, grab a hold of the back of your head. And then with that, can you press the head into the hand and point that right elbow towards the ceiling any amount, leaning back a little bit into this. Stay connected through your right foot. Breathe in, breathe out. Start to unwind, release out of that, framing out your left foot with both of your hands. Stepping into high plank, optional Vinyasa flow. Optional rest. Meet me in down dog, a couple of breaths there to reset, to stabilize. From down dog, heels lift. Let's make our way to the top of the mat. Coming up into our halfway lift on the inhalation. Choosing how you're placing your hands and standing up nice and tall. Shifting the weight into the right foot, lift the left knee. Here's option number 1, Ardha Tadasana. Option number 2, Utthita Ardha Tadasana. So you're extending the left leg, arms are reaching up. Option number 3, you're finding that bind with the right hand to the inner left foot and the left arm stretching back behind you. Okay, so whatever you're doing, whatever additions you're making or not, start to unwind out of that. Bending the left knee, press the foot behind you, catch the outer left ankle. Natarajasana. You might stay here upright, or you might pitch the heart forward and kick the left foot back and up. Let's move through that once more. So come back up to standing. Left knee forward. Choosing your additions or staying with that foundational shape. All of them are valuable. Notice your breath here as you kick back into Natarajasana one last time. Catching the outer left ankle with the left hand. Right arm up and then maybe forward. Releasing out of Natarajasana, we'll find that soft landing in our low lunge, left foot behind you. Hands come down for a moment and then feel that left heel bone to the mat. Maybe you add that block outside of right ankle, place the hand there, left arm sweeps up high towards the ceiling. We'll hold this static here, but I'll invite you to take that left elbow, bend it, and catch the back of the head. And then once you got the back of the head, can you lean into the hand a little bit, pointing that left elbow up towards the ceiling. 2 breaths here. Nice and slow release, unwind. Framing out your right foot, lifting your left heel. High plank. One last opportunity to move through Vinyasa or just come to rest. You can rest in child's pose, you can rest in down dog. Really up to you and your body. If you are in downward facing dog, I invite you to meet me in child's pose. Just taking a few moments here to start to transition into our more yin-like quality of our practice, which is softer, cooling. Last breath here. Pull your heart forward, cat, or rather tabletop. And from tabletop, let's curl or let's cross the ankles behind us. Roll the hips over the feet and then extend the feet forward. So you're in Dandasana, staff pose. Hands alongside the hips. See if you can sit up nice and tall here. Flex the toes towards the ceiling. And the challenge here will be to keep the heel bones in contact with the mat. So as we're sitting tall, let's cross the hands over the chest, curl the chin in. We're gonna roll all the way to our backs from this position. So again, heel bones, see if you can keep them in contact with the mat. And you're rolling all the way down. So tailbone, lower back, middle back, and then eventually the back of the head and shoulders rest. Once you're there on your back body, you can relax your arms. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Come back to happy baby, so you can bend your knees, you can reach up and grab somewhere along the backs of the legs or the feet. thighs wide, knees wide. Feel free to rock this a little bit side to side if you like. You can hold still and breathe if that feels best. And from this shape, if there's any last movement that you are craving, feel free to take it. If it requires two sides, like for example, a twist, give yourself 2 breaths on each side at least. If you're ready for Shavasana, begin to set that up for yourself. Shavasana might look like a seated meditation. It might look like legs up the wall. You're always welcome to grab any of your props. Once you're in your Shavasana position, see if you can adjust yourself in any way you need, like moving shoulders away from ears, slightly tilting the chin towards the chest, so that you can be comfortable in your stillness. Taking a big breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale. And as you exhale all the air out, feel your whole back body releasing into the floor, whatever is in contact with the floor. Feel that weight, that gravity pull. And the whole front body softening into the whole back body. If you're able, let's take a few moments of silence together here just to let that all percolate and integrate. So I always invite you to stay in Shavasana as long as your time allows, as long as you can afford. If you need to move on with your day, slowly awaken fingertips and toes, moving your head side to side. If you're on your back and you have space around you and above you, you can stretch your arms long, breathing into the length of your body. Bending your knees, rolling off to a side. And then pressing into your hands, rising up back towards that comfortable seat. Just briefly, we'll close our practice here. Joining the hands together at the heart. Kind of rub the palms together right and left. And so start to bring your awareness to that sensation between the hands, that friction, that heat that you're generating. A little bit quicker until the hands feel quite warm. You can take the hands and cup them over the eyes. So feel that energy, that sensation moving into the midbrain, down the spine, into the pelvis, regenerating your senses. Blinking the eyes open just once, open and close. And then again, joining the hands at the heart, bowing the chin to the chest. Honoring your effort and your practice. With reverence and gratitude to all of our teachers, past, present, future, to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste, yogis.